Hi everybody, Bearded Rogue here for another unboxing in Portland video. This time we're on box 7, and there's only like 5 games in here, so let's get to it. So the first one here is Rise of Augustus, or Augustus for those who aren't in the US. Not sure why the name was changed for our market, but you can see the Rise of there kind of tacked above it. This is Gamer Bingo. It plays really well with newer gamers. It plays really well with younger gamers. It's literally pulling things out of a bag and saying, hey, if you have this, cover it up. Once you've covered up so many things on a card, you shout Ave Caesar or bingo or whatever, and then fulfill that card, gain its benefits, take a new card, etc., etc. It's a pretty fun, quick, easy game. Got it to the table a lot after I first bought it. Haven't in a while, but who knows? We'll see. It's probably one of the earlier games that Roth will get a chance to play. Next is a game that excuse me, is a game that I absolutely love, but that has a sordid history surrounding it at this point that has made me swear off supporting the excuse me publisher ever again, and that's Puzzle Strike Bag of Chips. I love this game. It is a deck builder. It is a competitive deck builder where you are directly fighting each other and defeating each other's it's not really life totals. You're basically trying to fill their screen. Like, it simulates a like online puzzle game, basically Puzzle Fighter, in board game form. It's deck builder, but it uses chips rather than cards. So it has bags. Each character has their own unique tokens and everything. I have the second edition of the game, along with the update pack for the second edition of the game. About maybe 2 months after the update pack was announced and I acquired it, they announced the next edition of the game, which was going to update everything and completely change the way it played. It fundamentally changed one of the chips in the game completely. They also announced an expansion. While I would love to have both of those, at this point, I am no longer supporting Serlin Games on principle because he treats cardboard analog board games as if they can be patched like digital video games. And while I understand and respect his opinion that he wants the best version of his games to be out in the world, patching cardboard doesn't work the same way digital does. My copy doesn't suddenly upgrade itself, and I'm not going to re-buy a game in order to get the updated version of the game. There are no upgrade kits offered. There's been no anything to try to compensate people who own older editions. The people who own first edition were really screwed because some of them got like this fancy wooden edition that's completely incompatible with everything going forward. And it's just his standard business practice. I also used to own Yomi by him. I've since traded that one away. BattleCon basically replaced it for me. Part of it because while BattleCon has updated its presentation and clarified some of the rules, it didn't obsolete anything with its newer versions. And I chose to support Level 99's business model rather than Serlin's business model. That's pretty much it. I really like Serlin's games. I just wish they were released and supported by some other company. So that's the end of that rant. This is the last one of his games that I own. I don't want to get rid of it because I really like it, but unfortunately I'm never going to expand it beyond this. Maybe one day I'll seek out 3rd edition or 5th edition or whatever once he's finally decided he's done patching and tweaking and messing with everything. Who knows? Although now he's got a brand new game that he's supporting, so maybe it's fallen by the wayside and it would be safe to pick up a copy. Either way, I'm probably going to look for it used because I don't want to give him any more of my money. So let's go from a company whose business practices made me unhappy to a company whose business practices make me very happy. This is Chaosmos by Mirrorbox Games. This is one of the best games that I have ever played. and it is extremely unique. I say that because the end condition is, or the win condition is, whoever has a certain card in their hand at the end of a certain number of turns. This card is hidden. It can be hidden in someone's hand. It can be hidden in an envelope for one of the various planets that make up the board. It's a giant game of interstellar keep away. You're trying to find the item that will win you the game and have it in your hand at the end of the game. But in order to do that, you may have to hide it various places, put traps around it, pretend like you don't have it, dissemble, and gather various technologies to both attack and defend people in case they end up taking it from you. It's not like any other game I've ever played. I absolutely love this game. Mirrorbox, the company that released it, has supported it very heavily with additional videos of additional modes and how to play, and they've released some promo cards the past couple of years that you can add to the game. Aren't essential but are interesting and different. Overall, I can't say enough good things about this one. I really love this game. It was one of my hits of a couple years ago, and I think if you haven't tried it, you should probably give it a look. Especially if you're interested in games with asymmetric powers and complete card sets. The card sets in the game are every card feels overpowered, or you look at it and go, oh my gosh, that's so broken. And then you look at the next one and go, oh my gosh, that's so broken. And then you look at the next one and suddenly you realize that all the cards are slightly broken. All of the cards are powerful. There are no weak cards in this game. And that makes it a real joy to play when it comes to playing Cosmic Keep Away with your friends. So that's Cosmos from Mirrorbox. Following that one, I'm going to cover another one of my games that I feel is extremely underrated for what it is. I think it's a fantastic game, and that is Libertalia. Libertalia has a lot in common with a hidden role game, in that everybody simultaneously selects one of the cards from their hand, flips it over, and then they get to do whatever that role is. Then the role moves to their cabin, I think it's called, I can't remember. And then eventually they may die or be shuffled off to the graveyard by various things. And there are characters that trigger off of things in the graveyard, things in your cabin, things in play. They all do various things. What's really interesting about it is that everybody has the same deck. So there's something ridiculous like 30 different cards, and you only play with a certain number of them over the course of a game. So you won't see every card every game, but you'll see the exact same cards as everybody else. At the beginning, one person goes through and deals out a certain number of cards, and then everybody else finds those cards in their deck, and that's what you play with. So everybody starts from the same position, but you have to kind of tactically think about things and strategize how you're going to play your cards to maximize your potential versus everybody else. I love this game. I think it is one of the best simultaneous reveal, which is my favorite mechanic, role selection type games out there. And I don't think it got nearly enough buzz. I think it really deserves to have an expansion. I don't know if it's sold well enough for that, but I would kill to have more cards to add to this game, just to change it up a bit. Not because it's worn out its welcome, but because there's so much design space inside of this for additional pirates and crew members and things that you could do to change how the game plays completely. Because each card combos with, or anti-combos with every other card in the game, and so it's really cool. It's not the nicest game. It can be a little mean, and there are some people who don't like that, but I think it's really, really cool, and I'm so glad that I got a copy before it went completely out of print. As far as I know, it was reprinted after it was on tabletop. I don't know how its sales are doing, but if you can find a copy, I highly recommend it if you are at all interested in card games with combos and hidden role or hidden selection type games. Libertalia is awesome. I love it. And we're at the last game for the box, which is a company I mentioned earlier, but this is actually a game from them, and that's Argent the Consortium and the Argent Mancers of the University expansion. Argent the Consortium is almost like an Ameritrash worker placement game. It plays like a worker placement game. It's a Euro style worker placement game, but all of the workers have different abilities, and you draft them at the beginning of the game. And the abilities that you draft will have very radical effects on how you play the game for the entirety of the game. You place your workers in various locations around the university to do various things. What makes this game really interesting to me is that you don't know what scores points at the beginning of the game. There are the people who are on the board of the college who are looking to elect a new chancellor, and you are trying to become that chancellor. They all care about different things, but most of them are face down, and you don't know which ones are in play and which ones aren't. You can use actions in the game to sneak peeks at them. You start knowing what at least one of them is, but you can sneak peeks at them to find out what the victory conditions are. And then you can start working your way towards those. You just have to say, this guy cares about who has the most money. This guy cares about who has the most spell knowledge. This person cares about how many different types of spells you've learned. This person cares exclusively about your knowledge and wisdom. And all of them have different things that they key off of that you can accumulate in the game. But this leads to some very interesting misdirection inside of the game, because am I accumulating gold because I have some big strategy that I want to pull off at the last couple turns of the game that requires a lot of money? Or am I accumulating gold because gold will get me a victory condition? Am I accumulating too much gold? Is everybody else so far behind me in gold that I could probably afford to spend some of it in order to forward some of the other victory conditions? Or is spending it risky and exactly what the other players want me to do because they have some way of overtaking me in gold and taking that point I thought I had guaranteed away from me because I got greedy and tried to take one somewhere else? You don't know exactly what the victory conditions are, other than that you want to have the majority of votes at the end of the game. What gets you those votes is different every game. The rooms that make up the university are different every game. They may even have a different order in the game, and order matters because you process from right to left, top to bottom. So two rooms being in different locations can really change up how the game plays. It's extremely variable, especially when you add in the expansion, which adds in a whole bunch of additional stuff, including a sixth, I believe, worker type. But it's a huge game. It's, again, a little bit mean. Some people will be turned off by that. Like, one of the workers specifically boots other workers out of spaces and takes their spot. But some of the workers let you go earlier and around before anybody else goes, regardless of what your turn order actually is. Some of them are defensive and can't be hit by spells or can't be hit by the guys who beat people up and take their spots. Some of them can do, I can't remember what they are, but even the workers have variable abilities. There are cards that tell you what the workers do, and they're double-sided, so each worker can do two different things depending on how you want to do it. So it's extremely variable, extremely customizable to how you want to play it, and it's one of my favorite worker placement games, hands down, even as complicated as it is. It's not really complicated to play. It's complicated to learn a bit and complicated to set up at times, but I think if you've played any other of the bigger worker placement games, it's pretty straightforward. Either way, I really like it, and that's why it's in my collection. And that's it. That's everything in box number 7. So we're going to go ahead and call this one done. Looks like I went on some mini rants, so 5 games became 15 minutes anyway. But we'll see you again when I get to box 8. Bearded Rogue, out.